She should have a kind, fat face. Clever to charm her subjects, but pliable, so we can mold her.
Every time the topic of Rose Quartz being the true villain comes up, I have to wonder if we watched the same show. Was she flawed? Absolutely. Every character has shortcomings. That's what makes them compelling and realistic. But the scrutiny she gets feels unfair, especially compared to what other characters did that the audience barely blinks at. I don't care if Rebecca Sugar herself says Rose was the villain. I'm going to be a Rose Quartz defender till I die. So this video, I'm listing the charges against Rose Quartz and doing my best to defend her, or at least reduce her jail time. The song Drift Away by Spinell parallels Everything Stays by Marceline, but from two different perspectives. Both tell a tale of a sentimental object left in a garden as the owner moved on, seemingly forgetting all about them. Spinell's song is from the object's perspective, while Marcy's is from the owner who left it behind. These songs detail the story of objects, highly sentimental ones, that we outgrow. We leave them behind not because we stopped liking them, but because new chapters in life require us to move forward. Think about your most precious stuffed animal. When you were 8, do you still have it? Maybe you lost it in some crevice of your old house, or gave it away. Now imagine if that toy held you accountable. How dare you leave me behind? How dare you grow up and take on serious responsibilities? You can be an adult and still have sentimental objects, but growing up often means leaving some things behind. I remember selling my PS3 because I'd play it all day, and that's not an exaggeration. I wasn't getting any sleep, and if I wanted to make something of my life, I had to let it go. Not because I didn't love it, I was addicted to it, but I needed to get into college. Spinell was created to be a companion, a jester who was always there to entertain you, an animatronic that didn't need batteries, the type of affection that quickly got exhausting, kinda like Panini from Chowder or Tutti from Fairly Odd Parents. Like my console addiction, it was exhilarating at first, but after finishing your 10th adventure game in a row, it got depressing. I started asking myself, what now? Get a new game, finish it, repeat the cycle? If I continue like this, where would I be in 5 years? Still living at home with my parents, playing console games with nothing going for myself. Pink had just got a new responsibility. After years of begging for a colony, she finally got it. Trusted with real power, she even accepted a Pearl reassignment, one with a forehead placement, already hinting at more intellect-driven decision-making. Watch my gem placement video for more clarity. She couldn't start this new chapter playing all day, but why couldn't she just communicate that to Spinell? The reasons come down to Pink being a poor communicator. Pink initially saw gems as incapable of deviating from who they fundamentally were. Each had a role in the cast and stuck by it. She probably saw no point trying to get a Spinell, a gem designed to be a playmate, to change into a more serious gem overnight. She thought she was sparing Spinell's feelings by disguising her true intentions with a game. If you've ever dated someone just because they confessed first, and you didn't want to hurt their feelings, you're in this boat too. Your communication style is largely a product of your environment. Pink came from a family of terrible communicators. Yellow would literally shatter innocent rose quartzes and build a cluster mutant to destroy a planet from the inside out before admitting she was heartbroken about Pink's death. Even Blue Diamond, who seemed more emotionally open, shut Pink down and misunderstood her constantly, like with the human zoo. But we'll get to that later. With White, communication was between her and herself while you stood there in silence. Pink was taught to repress her feelings or be manipulative because she was constantly shut down when she tried to be herself or express her needs. She adapted, and we see how maladapted her communication style was throughout the series. So instead of telling Spinell the truth, she felt the need to camouflage it, to manipulate the situation to appear more responsible now that she'd finally gotten her first colony. Even Steven got fed up with Spinell's constant energy at some point. Now about Spinell herself. Unlike the earlier villains, she was fully aware that Steven was not Rose Quartz, and the gems had nothing to do with what Pink put her through. But she still proceeded to wipe away his friend's memories, try to literally kill him, and then poison Earth itself, not in one swift blow, but through slow, agonizing intoxication of the land. She even admits her role in Steven's eventual breakdown.
This is my fault!
Spinell, don't be silly. Everyone knows that all of this is because of me.
No, it's me! I tried to wipe his friend's memories so he would die alone on a barren world.
But that was because you were angry with Pink.
But But you can guess what people said. It's because of her trauma, because Pink left her in the garden. People are quick to credit characters' terrible actions to trauma, but not when it comes to Pink Diamond. Heck, even Jasper got a pass. There's also the idea that Rose didn't realize how important she was to the people around her, because she was used to feeling less than around the diamonds. White believed Rose surrounded herself with lower gems so she could feel like the best of the worst, but in reality that's where she truly felt she belonged.
There you go again. Do you understand why you defend their flaws? I know why, Pink. You like surrounding yourself with inferior gems.
What?
You enable their terrible behavior so you can be the best of the worst.
I don't think she understood the authority she had as a diamond, how literally her statements were taken by those under her. The only time we actually see her use her diamond authority in a command was when she told Pearl not to tell anyone about the faked shattering. It would have turned her entire plan on its head. Picture this scenario. You have 3 siblings in school who are seniors while you're a junior. They each control different parts of the school. People respect them, give them their lunch money. Even staff know not to cross them, but no one knows you're related. You see this and want your own piece of the school. That same respect. Finally, they give you your own section as your turf. Everyone there has to respect you. Then after your first week in power, you realize your siblings aren't respected. They're bullies. You begin to feel for the students. You try telling your siblings to stop. They brush you off. So you start a movement through a group chat where you hide your identity and make the bullied students rebel. Now imagine someone in the group chat private messages you, talking about a plan to get the bullies expelled. Hold up, they may be bullies, but those are your siblings. Rose went through something similar, except replace expelled with literal murder. Yes, Pink didn't see eye to eye with the other diamonds, but that didn't mean she wanted them shattered. When Bismuth brought the breaking point to her, she tried talking her out of it. That probably didn't make sense to Bismuth. Why wouldn't you want to take out the enemy? Their disagreement turned physical, and she poofed Bismuth. Like we established, Rose had deep communication issues from her upbringing. What was she supposed to tell the other gems? It might have led to more questions like why she didn't want the diamonds shattered, but she could have at least mentioned it to Pearl, to be honest. Speaking of secrets, that's one of the many problems fans have with her. She kept many secrets from her team. We'll review those. But a healthy relationship doesn't mean telling the other party every single event or occurrence in your life, even the really deep things. Some of the secrets Rose kept weren't even that serious, like the existence of lion. God forbid a giant lady wants to have a reincarnated lion, where she keeps things most precious to her. The gems are one to talk. They literally lied to Stephen to his face and never came forward with the truth during the test. Or about the truth of Lapis being trapped in the mirror. How about the fact that Garnet was a fusion all along? Sure, she planned to tell him on his birthday, but what about before that? When the gems straight up refused to tell Stephen about the palanquin, he literally had to travel across the world to get answers. Pearl was going to keep the truth about how gems were made from Stephen because she thought it was grim. And should we talk about the whole Sardonyx fiasco? Even Greg kept secrets about his upbringing from Stephen. Stephen started keeping secrets himself in Steven Universe Future. So them crashing out about the secrets Rose kept is hypocritical. The same way they had reasons for keeping secrets is the same way Rose had hers. I cannot stand the way they dehumanize this character for exhibiting almost the same traits they all do. Anything that goes wrong somehow gets dumped in the blame Rose Quartz pile. So what were Rose's secrets? Leaving Spinel in the garden, which we talked about, the fact that she was actually Pink Diamond, which also connects to why she didn't tell the gems about poofing Bismuth, the existence of Lion, which, like I said, wasn't really that big of a deal. Let me know if I'm missing anything, but I do understand Pearl's reaction, considering Rose told her secrets that held more weight. Pearl believed she was supposed to know everything about her. People say she caused the death and corruption of the gems that fought alongside her. Hate to break it to you, but welcome to what it means to be at war. The gems that fell weren't victims. They knew exactly what they were getting into, rebelling against Homeworld. They trained for this and were willing to risk it all for a chance at freedom. Don't dishonor their sacrifice by reducing them to victims of Rose's actions. They were people inspired by Rose's words who wanted to change, no matter the cost. The Super Watermelon Island episode parallels this perfectly. Stephen enters the mind of a watermelon version of himself and inspires the other melons to fight alongside the gems to defeat Malachite. Some were lost in battle. Does that make Stephen the bad guy for starting a war? Stephen represents Pink Diamond, and the watermelon body represents Rose Quartz's form. That's how on the nose the parallel is. Speaking of the melons, the way we humans view sentient melons is probably how the diamonds view gems and organics. Yes, they're sentient, but there's minimal attachment because they're essentially fruit. We watch melons get cracked open several times in the show, but it doesn't carry weight because they're just melons. They're disposable. Keep that in mind when you contextualize certain scenarios. Spinel being left in the garden because, like I said before, she was akin to a toy, or a prop. The reason we feel outrage at most of the diamond's actions is because we see gems as people. Imagine you're a farmer growing pumpkins and part of your yield goes bad or gets infected with pests. You get rid of it. That's essentially the diamond mindset. They grow gems like crops, which explains why they treated off colours the way they did. If anything, Pink treated gems way better than expected of a diamond. As time went on, she let go of seeing other life forms as subpar and beneath her to seeing them as individuals who deserve to live freely and make their own decisions. I don't know how this could possibly translate to her being the villain of the show. Actually, wait, I know one of the major contributing factors. Her story was shown in reverse. They gave us the butterfly before showing us the caterpillar, which made her come off as a fraud. Someone initially revered and seen as this divine Joan of Arc type character shrouded in mystery became a deeply flawed persona. It swayed the minds of people unable to fully analyse a character for what she was, instead going with the flow of wherever the show's narrative took them. You can see how drastically she changed by the different versions the Pearls described. Pink Pearl met her at her most childish, most emotional, most vulnerable, like a teenage girl going through puberty. But our Pearl met a more refined version, still laden with characteristic goofiness, but with better control of her emotions. An overall better person, though one who still might not have made the best decisions, because growth is growth, not perfection. Moving from Tier 1 to Tier 4 is growth. Doesn't mean the traits of Tier 10 should be expected of you. Pink Pearl wasn't the only Pearl who faced trauma from her relationship with Rose. The heartbreak and anguish Pearl was left in serves as a constant reminder of this so-called villainous nature of Pink Diamond. Pearl was one of the closest people to Pink Diamond. They literally went through life-altering moments together, led a rebellion, fought side by side, faced death head-on. The bond they built was a strong one, not to mention Pearls innately serve and revere their masters, ready to lay their lives on the line for them. But you can't force someone to choose you romantically, no matter what. While you have every right to mourn the relationship, I don't believe in villainizing someone for not choosing you. Pearl was absolutely infatuated with Rose, but I'm not entirely sure Rose saw her that way. What Rose was infatuated with was the Earth, how humans get to grow and choose their own destinies, how delicate and short their lifespans were. Greg wasn't the first human she fell in love with, so much so that Pearl expected him to be just another fling. I guess there was something special about him. Pearl's relationship with Rose was not healthy at all. It almost felt like she wanted ownership, rather than an actual healthy relationship. I can sympathise with Pearl. I truly can, but I choose to do that without villainising Rose. There's honestly a lot to unpack with their dynamic. Feels like it deserves a separate video. Pearl wasn't the only one heartbroken by Pink's disappearance. Pink didn't consider her underlings, the gems directly under her who lived to serve her. One can't possibly understand the anguish they had to live through. It was like losing their mother. Even the tough-skinned Jasper was visibly distraught over this, not to mention Eyeball, who witnessed the shattering firsthand. The gems had no idea what to do next. Greg was as lost as everyone, so I get it. It felt like she just abandoned everyone with her decision to have Stephen. Yeah, looking at the consequences, that seemed like pretty shitty decision-making on her part. But Stephen did end up changing the world for the better as we know it, and most of it wouldn't have been possible without his half-human side. We can only say that in retrospect though, considering everything turned out good for the most part. But why did she do this? Why did she decide to have Stephen? Was it to run away from her problems and leave everything to a literal child? I don't subscribe to that notion. To Rose's knowledge, there was now peace on Earth. They had lost, but at least Earth was free. Rose believed the corruption blast was the Diamond's final goodbye to Earth. She believed this floating rock was off their radar now. So yes, while they suffered a horrific loss, the survivors could live in peace. She believed she was bringing Stephen into this beautiful world full of potential. As for why Garnet couldn't predict what would happen surrounding Rose's pregnancy, I really don't know. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. I'm still trying to understand how Garnet's future vision works myself, but we still haven't answered why she wanted this in the first place. Pink had identity issues. Almost like every time we meet her, she wants to be someone else or is trying to cosplay something she's not. She was clearly out of place as a diamond and thought getting a colony would fix that. Spoiler, it didn't. She quickly fell in love with the colony she was supposed to preside over. She couldn't continue to strip this world of its resources. The more she learned about the planet and its inhabitants, the more intrigued and infatuated she became. I don't think Rose was a happy person. Sure, on the surface she seemed jolly and carefree, but there was this constant state of sorrow emanating from her, almost ethereal in nature. You can see it most clearly in her paintings and early designs. She felt she had nothing left to offer this world. Her cheerfulness masked someone fundamentally empty, someone without purpose. She saw humans as blessed with the gift of growth and the ability to choose, making them somewhat of the superior species. And here's where it gets complicated. She spent thousands of years fighting for gems' freedom to choose their own paths. She told them they could be whatever they wanted. She herself, as a diamond, deviated from her duties. Pearl became a warrior instead of a servant. Garnet existed as proof that gems could defy Homeworld's rigid rules. So she believed gems could change. She'd seen it, led it, embodied it. But somewhere deep down, she carried this shame about what gems fundamentally were, their method of creation, how they consumed planets, the destruction inherent to their existence. Maybe she believed in their potential to choose differently, but couldn't escape the feeling that they were parasites to Earth, that no matter how much they changed, that original sin remained. Or maybe the issue was more personal. Rose believed other gems could transform, could break free, could choose, but she couldn't believe it for herself. Despite liberating others, she felt trapped by something in herself she couldn't escape. She could shapeshift, she could rebel, she could love, but she couldn't stop being herself, and that self felt irredeemable. Creating a human being with someone she loved became the best use of the rest of her life. She saw it as finally offering something of worth by removing herself from the equation. This was escape for someone who'd run out of reasons to continue existing. The video to Stephen confirms it. She focuses entirely on his potential, barely acknowledging what she's giving up. There's this eerie detachment. She'd already disappeared emotionally long before her physical form dissolved. She speaks as someone who has left, addressing a future without her with no grief or second thoughts. If you're enjoying the video so far, I implore you to subscribe. It's honestly fine not to want more animated video essays in the future. Who knows if I'll ever appear amongst your recommended videos again. If you do decide to subscribe, I'd advise you to turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single video. While you're here, join the Discord as well. Follow my Instagram and TikTok, link in description. The Human Zoo is a classic example of how the diamonds failed to understand Pink on several occasions, even Blue, who was seemingly the closest to her. And no, the Human Zoo was not Pink's idea. Pink Diamond expressed to Blue that she wanted to preserve life on Earth. What did Blue do? She decided to take humans as artifacts to be kept in a zoo, totally missing the point of what Pink was saying. People ask why Pink didn't lead the rebellion as herself instead of an alter ego. For one, the diamonds would have taken it as one of her many tantrums. They would not have taken the rebellion seriously at all, knowing Pink would never actually hurt them. Pink's whole plan as Rose wasn't even to hurt the diamonds, it was to scare them away. She also wanted to remove the fact that she'd be seen as a diamond waging war against other diamonds. If she led the war in her diamond form, gems would have taken her speeches as commands, rather than sparking in them the need to make their own choice. One of the major fallouts of this plan was the fact that innocent Rose Quartzes would pay for her crimes. It must have created immense prejudice while the rebellion was brewing, much less after the shattering took place. They must have been in hiding, trying to escape the diamond's wrath for something they didn't even do, just for existing. This is actually one of the more valid points for people calling her a villain. It wasn't very well thought out on her part. I don't think she foresaw the backlash her plan would have. Some people believe Rose Quartz gems already existed when she first shapeshifted into one, while others believe she created them to further hide her new persona. I can't confirm any at the moment, but if the latter was the case, yeah, it was pretty shitty on her part. And if we're calling a spade, it was actually Pearl's plan that started the whole thing. So are we going to give Pearl the same slack for suggesting it in the first place? I was really disappointed that in the end, Stephen didn't come around to understanding his mother more and humanizing her. They went through somewhat similar upbringings, raised by three maternal figures who constantly underestimated them and kept the important and hard tasks from them. They had to fight to be seen as capable and worthy, constantly being treated like the kid, but yet bearing everyone's burdens due to their immense empathy. They were really similar, even in expressions. He even had his fair share of shady actions throughout the series. For one, dismantling the Empire was seemingly a good thing, but he didn't consider the gems who wanted this, who spent their life's work in this system, displacing them to roam aimlessly, the same way Pink had good in her mind when she made certain decisions. But oversights are not rare in decision-making. Stephen even experienced her power firsthand, experienced having tantrums and outbursts. He literally shattered Jasper by accident, but somehow he was unable to understand that Pink hurt her Pearl accidentally as well. He could so much as smile, and a crack would appear. So yeah, like I said, I wish he embraced her a little more towards the end of the series, flaws and all.
What's not clicking, Steven?
The contents of this video remain my opinion, and you're entitled to yours. Share this with a known Rose hater or someone who might enjoy the video. I look forward to reading your own takes on this topic, and by no means does it have to align with mine. If you're on the opposing team, well, you can try to convince me to switch sides in the comments. Become a member if you want to support the channel further. Shout out to my current members, and as usual, see you in the next one.